Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Gabriel Diamond. I'm the video producer for Skoll Foundation, and I've had this incredible job for several years now, getting to travel the world, helping to tell stories about change makers in our portfolio that do this incredible work. And it's really been a dream come true for so long. And around 2018, 2019, I started to I would announce that I was going to go to some country to do a film, and people in that country would say, "Hey, can I shadow you? Can I learn what you're doing? I want to get to do this kind of work of documenting change makers. It's what I want to do as well." And it started to just place this seed in my head of what is a way that we can share these kinds of opportunities. And so I had a great conversation with Judy from DocuBox, where we just sort of created what would it look like to build a program where we linked up filmmakers with local social entrepreneurs, change makers, social enterprise organizations, and put them together in a way that they could collaborate and tell stories together. Because it just makes sense to have these proximate people have those relationships to telling those stories. And so we did a first iteration with just 5 films in 2019, then COVID happened, and then through a series of conversations with Sky Dylan Robbins from Video Consortium and DocuBox and Debra, who's here on the call, we birthed this solution storytelling project. And I will turn it over to Debra, who's really been the person on the ground doing the work from the producing side and making sure that all the filmmakers have the resources they need, and all the communication between the filmmakers and the organizations is going great, and the post-production, which is huge. And I just want to give Debra a chance to give a little bit of overview of that side of the program, which is really just like that tireless day-to-day communicating to produce films, 19 of them. And then from there, we will turn it over to some of the filmmakers and rights and resources, and then we will show the film. So thank you all so much for joining us, and pleased to pass the mic over to Debra.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. The chat is now active or activated, or enabled, so feel free to continue to introduce yourself. It's nice to see you, or not see you, but have you all on the webinar. As Gabriel said, my name is Debra Aroko. I am based in Nairobi, Kenya. I was and still am the programs manager for SSP Africa. And what the film, you're going to watch during this webinar is the culmination of the hard work of not only Sky and I, but the entire team at RRI and the dedicated filmmakers that were attached to this particular project. And through the SSP program, we connected 19 filmmakers from across Africa to change makers, organizations like Rights and Resources that are doing amazing things on the continent that we feel should be platformed, that should be given a chance to be seen by a broader audience. So connecting the filmmakers and allowing them to tell these stories in a way that is truly authentic and moving, that can capture people who are not only just familiar with the work that RRI are doing, but people who would be interested in this type of work and interested in seeing the changes and the movements being made forward to evolve and grow the continent, and also solve some of the issues that we see, and tell those stories through film. So it was a very collaborative effort, a very, I would say, daring and ingenious effort to try and merge the worlds of bringing these stories forth in a way that is engaging, in a way that will capture people, but in a way that will also educate them and bring awareness to organizations like RRI. And it was a long 12 months, but with the hard work of the filmmakers and the collaborative spirits that people like Madiha and Jonathan and Nicole Harris put into the work and into the collaboration, we're able to create something, I think, that's very amazing, and that captures the heart of the work that RI are doing, but also puts a different lens or presents all of these issues that people may have been familiar with, but through a lens that is clearer, more authentic, and more heartfelt than we feel has been done before. And that was at the very heart of what SSP was trying to do. So yeah, I'm happy and pleased to be here and to be able to showcase and talk through some of the experiences that the filmmakers had. The filmmakers of this project were Anthony from Kenya, Liza Mali, and Franklin Mudilia, who are Kenyan but also are from the community that was featured in the film. And I'm sure Jonathan and the RRI team can speak more to the work that they do and how they feel about the entire process. And so will Frank, who is the filmmaker who's joining us today. Gabriel?
Thank you so much, Debbie. Now I want to pass the mic over to Franklin Mudilia, who is the filmmaker who was, from my understanding, on the ground doing the filming that you're about to see. So Frank, if you're willing, we've just promoted you to panelist here. Bring yourself onto the video so we can have a look at you, and just tell us a little bit about how you came to this organization and what you learned about the work, how familiar you were with this work, and how you went about going to tell the story. We'd love to hear that before we watch the film, so don't give anything away. And take it away, Franklin.
Hi, Gabriel. Apparently from my end, I'm trying to turn on the video, but it to some extent it can't. But I think you can hear me. Okay, yeah, my name is Franklin Mudulia. I'm glad to have been a part of the making of this film together with Anthony Ochieng and Liza Mali. It was a very good experience. I'm excited for everyone who is here to watch the film. So perhaps maybe because you have intended I should not give away what is in the film, then I think it will be better for me to speak now after people have watched the film, so that now from there I can be able to expound more on the experience. But it was a wonderful experience for us as filmmakers. Yes.
Excellent. Good way to keep the suspense active there, Franklin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jonathan, I'd like to turn it over to you as the main liaison from Rights and Resources Initiative to work with the filmmakers. This is such it's almost like a sacred collaboration that happens when giving somebody the power to tell your story. And so I'm curious how you approached this, from meeting the filmmakers to conveying the message to what we're about to see. What would you like to share just about what this process has been like?
Sure. So my colleague Kendi and I, we both went to Majimoto back in April. And for me, it was the first time meeting the filmmakers. It was actually my first time in Kenya. And so we went to Majimoto. We met the folks with Alepa, particularly Kimaren and James. And so speaking with them, meeting community members, getting more like firsthand accounts of their stories of the community members of Majimoto. It was very humbling. And so I wanted to take I wanted to very much kind of let them share their experiences, speak their truth, kind of let them really tell their story, which is what we're going to be hearing. So it was very collaborative, but at the same time, for me, it was also an experience of kind of stepping back and really letting the community and the filmmakers, do what they do best.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I think it's time to go ahead and just play the film. We will see you very shortly. Here we go.
Mitum mogo ngegi jo yokro masai mitum do to ngono go ngop amge jo par masai ore ngop to kita ngaragane mishoro yita ngop par masai wala yun ya ga ngop ore enkop naa entoki sidai oleng. Enkishui doi ake duo enyaanyukie. Orekie apa itayio serkali toolarin karibu ntomoni lootulusoitie amu no 1960s 70s apa naitururie iltung'anak naa metotona tewueji nebo. Neeku ore group ranch naa iltung'anak ooponu tenebo naa neitakini ewueji netaa enenye hoo naa title nabo eeta. Iterua endung'oto enkop nisulaki ene Majimoto 1997. Neeku enkop enooloogoli. Neoruni iltung'anak ooshal enkop 2015 naa niterunye orkiyioi sapuk lena siai enkop naa nikipuo kotini kira officials le Majimoto.
Iya bade ni na da mai dorna to aljamba la ya metu amir aljamba la ya ma de silo altungwani ada de mera kula hamba ma da no ala yolo
narare siai ele shamba mpaka nebaya nangari shata mpaka nalotu amany kake ketii kulie tokitin nemaata ele shamba amu maata title.
Iyaka onom taadi ele shamba naa walalai te area list naa ninye te primary register. Nemiri ele shamba nitu amir olopeny. Ego maana ile neoreka naa onom iyaka onom idol naa jero biane kotaka pegira amiri.
The land right struggle is a complicated political process. Most of the land rights community members may not understand. Ilepa is a Maasai word that means arise, that means take action, that means exercise your agency. Ilepa unpacks policy that are relevant to our community and interprets what does the land law says about community land rights. Which institution has which mandate so that actions and claims are targeted at the right institution which have a mandate in law to respond to these requests.
The community received support from RRI through the strategic response mechanism, which was very instrumental in providing a legal case to reclaim these rights.
Ora baatum title dai nadola neino tare atoiwoki tenakop.
Kaning entoki sidai oleng amu kaashipaki alta neeku kaas naa pooki toki natii tiatua olchamba malalai naa.
Ore naa sai kulo shambai lainei naa embaye etipat ina amu ore peeku miata nemeeta enitii. Ore kuna kera ainei kenya kuna kulupuok ainei maisha ai tenalo mashomo amenai enakop.
Ore enkoitoi nasujie iltung'anak ilchambai lenye naa peesujie enkoitoi esheria. Mitayu olchamba eremet. Naa peeng'as ayiolou esipata ino amu tinimiyiolo niming'or.
The future is to effectively restore these rights, to sustain peace so that communities can practice their livelihoods in a peaceful environment and effectively exercise their agency in securing their futures.
Welcome back. Thank you for watching. Before we jump right back into discussion, just want to take 3 minutes here to invite each person who just watched that to share a few reflections in the chat. Something you learned, something that touched you, something that you want to further inquiry into, another follow-up question, anything like that. How this impacted you, what it felt like to watch. Really beautiful seeing these comments come in, and we'll just take another minute. I want to invite Kimaren and James and Jonathan and Frank to turn on your videos if you're willing, and Madiha too, if you're willing, as you are our featured panelists. And James, I see that you've just unmuted, so that's perfect timing. You were in this film. Love to hear from you what it's like to see yourself. Is this your first time seeing it? And what was this experience like for you to be filmed and featured in this way?
Yeah, so I was saying, unfortunately, I'm trying to turn on the video, but it's not accepting, and I think it is still okay. I can talk without, because actually I think it is. I'm even using two gadgets. I'm using the laptop and using the phone. But yes, I can talk. And first and foremost is that yes, I'm in the video, and I think it's my first time to see, I think, the complete video. I think in the initial sort of editing, I think I saw a little of it, but I think now the final, I think, product is, I think, very fine, very, very, very interesting. So one is for me, really, despite the fact that I was among the people interviewed, I felt very exciting to see myself, the community, sharing their experiences, and very, very, very emotional, despite the fact that I was there when these people are being interviewed, being the group run chairman and also working with ILEPA. It's very, very emotional, especially to hear the community say land is life. To hear someone say this is the only property I can leave for my children and my future generation. So really, I think for me it's very, very exciting. And we as an institution and as a group ranch that has followed this thing for many years, those stories, hearing community says life, land is life, and this is the only property I can leave for my children. It's actually at the value that I struggled for close to 20 years. It's actually beared fruits. And it's evident that some of these stories, actually I was telling Jonathan and the team that was there, that it's good to capture some of these feelings when they're still fresh, because feelings and the excitements of people when they get back their land, if time, if it's not taken immediately, and then that fire goes out. So anyway, for me, I feel very excited, and I feel that the story has given the real experiences of people that have gone through this. And then again, as I said, that hearing community talk about land as a property for the children, that the struggle is not in vain, despite the fact that it has taken those many years. And then finally, just like the way I think in Kimaren's comment, is that RRI and ILEPA facilitated the community to document the claims. And then for me also, this video is another form of documentation for capacity building and encouraging other people that it is doable. So I think I can stop from there so that I can give the rest and give specific questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. Oh, and here you are. Now we get to see you.
Yeah. So I do have
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing and coming and sharing with us. Kimaren, I would like to pass the mic over to you. You were in the film. What was this process like for you to be featured in this way and to share your story and then to have it put into this film? Love to hear from you.
Yeah, greeting everyone, and thank you, Gabriel. My name's Kimaren Riamit, as has been said. And I don't know where to start. This is a very nostalgic movie to watch because it's our lived experience. Trying to capture a struggle of over 7 years in 7 minutes and coming true to the spirit and the outcomes of that struggle is not a mean achievement. And stepping out of the struggle to watch on the screen is equally a very powerful thing, you know, standing out of that struggle and reliving that spirit is powerful. And of course, there are many things that we have learned. There are many things we could say, but one that stands out is a power of evidence, documented evidence of community claims. The bureaucracy, the state, and the market privileges text stories. Our communities are narrators, they are storytellers. And what is not written before the state and documented oftentimes is not evidence. And so the coming in of RRI to help in pulling together the evidence created a very solid foundation for claiming these rights effectively and to create a reference for generations to come. The Majimoto case represents hundreds of other cases. It's hardly difficult to come across a group ranch in Kenya that has not experienced land rights violations and land grabs. And there are very, very scarce and distant successful cases like this one, where a land rights is launched, claim is launched, the administrative system, the National Land Commission, and the ministry agrees with the claimants, and the court agrees with the claimants 100% restore those land rights. This is a rare outcome. And so the filming provides those other communities a chance, a glimpse of what happened and what came out, that it is possible, despite the very far apart outcomes that are positive, this is one that they can always come to in these 7 minutes or so and get inspired. And so the support to do this documentation is an intergenerational contribution for this kind of struggles. And seeing the people represented in this chart from the North Pole almost to the South and East and South, he has given the Majimoto story a life of its own. It has created, basically dissolved the boundaries of Kenya and Majimoto to reach to the world that keep hope alive, because despite the odds against communities, when they come together, when they are organized, when they are resilient and consistent, such outcomes are possible. So I cannot thank those who supported the filming enough, RRI enough, and I can only pray that we will create a platform to share it so that others can be inspired to stay on course, because it is possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Kimaren. Beautiful. Frank, I'd like to turn it over to you briefly, if you're able to come off a video. I know that there have been some issues with that. And just a quick clarification, Frank was not the person on the ground doing the filming. He helped with the editing of this. And And I'm curious, Frank, if you could share with us what this experience was like, getting this raw footage and working with it to tell this story. What were the challenges and goals that you were working with and how did you collaborate with the organization to bring this all together? And beautiful job on it. As somebody put in the chat, the editing is really lovely. So we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Gabriel, not Jonathan. Apparently I'm trying to have my video come on, but it's not accepting. I don't know what's the problem. But I can still continue sharing my experience, and then I'll try join as well as we continue. I'd love all of you guys to see my face as well. So yeah, so for Lice and I doing the editing for this film, let me first say it was sort of therapeutic to some extent. We really enjoyed, considering at the time we were editing it, we were also editing another film still under the program. But this one was very exciting for us. And as Kimaren had mentioned earlier, he said the people from his community are storytellers. And true to that, we've shot with Maasais before, and many of these are the indigenous communities here in Kenya. And when you pose a question for them, the way they narrate the stories is on another level. They are born storytellers. For instance, in the film, there is the guy who is starting the film, the one who is saying, according to the Maasais, Maasais cannot give away two things, and one of them is land. So this is something that they hold so dear to them. And also for us, it was also a bit challenging, considering the time we were editing this. Our young son was sick. So this was therapeutic in a way that, for example, if you've heard a mother saying, her land is her only, that's the only thing that her children will, and her generations to come after her are going to inherit. So that was very powerful for us, that we are dealing with something in our personal lives in more or less a similar manner. But now, how in the way they are dealing with their own struggles and all that, and then the way they articulate the love for their children, the future generations, the way they want to keep their livelihood as intact as they can, that for us was very therapeutic, and we really enjoyed the story, and we enjoyed the way the film came out. It is very powerful. I lack words to express the but this has been one of those films that I've edited, which for me was, I enjoyed. It had some of the challenges with it. Some of it, since like you mentioned before, I wasn't the one shooting on the ground. Many of the films I've edited before, I've either shot on the ground or I was present during the filming period. But this one, I wasn't in any of it. I was not in the process of the development of the story. But a very big shout out to the Video Consortium team and the Rights and Resources team, because immediately we were given the footage, we got on a call with the Debra, we got a call with the Mungai, and then we got on a call with the Jonathan. And together now we started creating the way the progression of the story will go, having everyone feel represented so that we don't leave anyone out. But now it is a whole. From the whole, it represents the whole community. We have young mothers, we have young men, we have old men, we have widows. So it is a very cohesive film that represents the whole community and their struggles. Now with that collaboration, working with Jonathan, working with Debbie, and working with Sky and the whole video consortium team. It made work easy for me while editing it because, like I said, it was very challenging to some extent. We went on field to shoot something else. We were also editing this one, and then we were also finishing up on the other one but during the whole of that period, like we will go shoot during the day for another project. Then whatever we would encounter during the shoot of that, I used to long to come back in the evening and continue editing this one, because this one, it was sort of a healing for me for the hard hustles and everything from the other shoot during the day. So I really enjoyed working on this one, and I appreciate the people who have appreciated the edit in the comments. Thank you so much. We do appreciate. Yes.
Thank you so much, Frank. That was just very inspiring to hear, just the humility and dedication you approach this work with. Thank you for bringing that to the piece, and it really shows through. This is an open question. Yeah, open question for folks from Rights and Resources Initiative, Jonathan, and also James and Kimaren. But this is entrusting somebody to tell your story. It's really, there's so much trust that goes into it. And I'd love to hear from you, what were your goals setting out from this process? What were the things that you wanted this film? In my experience as a filmmaker, a lot of people come like, I want to save the world with this film. I want you to make a film and I want it to change everything. And so I'm just curious if you could just pull back the lid a little bit for us. When you approached this project, when you said yes to this opportunity to have your story told by a local team of local filmmakers, what were the things that you wanted to try to convey in the film? What was the story you wanted? And feel free to just come on camera, unmute yourself, and share a bit about that.
Yeah. First of all, Frank, you really did some phenomenal work. Can't thank you enough, as well as Debra, Gabriel, the entire video consortium team, James, Kimaren, everyone from Aleppo, and above all, the entire community of Majimoto. When we set out with this, ultimately our goal is to have the community share their stories, share their experiences, and really have like the inspiration of this story really spread as far as it possibly can, because as some of you have mentioned, this really is a global struggle. The hope is that this inspiration spreads, not just to other group branches across Kenya, but really all over the world, where Indigenous, local communities, Afro-descendant communities struggling for their rights to land, all resources. Ultimately, this story, the inspiration that it has, the power that it has, and the way that it really resonates with everyone who has come across it really is amazing. And so our goal is to make sure that this spreads as far as it can, and that, the power that's demonstrated by the mobilization of the community of Majimoto and the leadership also provided by Aleppo, that these lessons can really go as far as possible.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jonathan. I actually want to invite everybody to help us do a quick little miniature impact campaign. Those of you in the documentary filmmaking world will be very familiar with that term of an impact producer. And there's so many ways to go about increasing the impact of a film. And one is doing this, which we're doing right now, which is to create a community gathering where people can come together in real time and watch and discuss and give the filmmakers and the subjects and the organization that moment in the limelight. And this feels like a really special moment to be doing that. So thank you to everybody who's joined. And then the other is really making sure that the film is seen by the right people at the right time. And this is the right time, and you all here are the right people. And I'm bet that there's folks probably in your world who would love to see this film. So we've just posted it on YouTube as an unlisted link, which means I can share the link, but nobody has seen it. It has 0 views. So what I'm going to do is post the link into the chat right now to YouTube. And if we could just take maybe 3 minutes right now as a group to, one, if you posted something, a question or a comment or reflection in the chat, to go in and copy that comment reflection into the comments in YouTube. What that does is it creates engagement and shows that there is organic engagement around the world around this piece. And then the next piece that I would like to invite each person to do here is to just think of 1 or 2 or maybe 3 people in your life who would benefit from seeing this for any number of reasons, and to share that link with them. Feel free to share on social media, things like that as well. So feel free to go ahead and click on that link, paste in the comments that you've already shared in the chat, which were so rich, and would love to bring those out so that more people who aren't on this call can see them as well. While that's happening, I want to pass the mic over to Debbie again, if you're willing to share a bit more. I mean, this is a really unique project of linking local African filmmakers with organizations, and you were sort of boots on the ground day to day working on that. Can you just sort of share a bit more about what that was like, what the biggest sort of challenges, learnings, and triumphs were for you in this process?
Yeah, no, of course. I don't think we have enough time in this webinar to go into it. You will read about it in my book that's coming out soon. But yes, it was an incredible and unique experience to be able to have led this project. I think it's pretty unique in how it was set up and how the process and the intention behind it was. I mean, you had from Frank and Lisa were not the filmmakers on the ground, but the fact that they were part of they were part of the SSP program, filming a different film in a different region, but having the access to the resources that we provided for them enabled them to be able to quickly pick up this second project and help out their fellow filmmaker Tony. And it helped a lot, the fact that Lisa is actually Indigenous Maasai. So she helped us with the language, and she helped us communicate the story with true authenticity. And like Frank said, it's close to their heart because they know what it's like on the ground. And that kind of encapsulates what SSP was trying to do, because it feels like there's so many things happening, there's so many stories that need to be told across the continent, and who better to tell them than the people who are part of those communities, the filmmakers who belong to those groups. And they bring such vibrance and such joy and such understanding, and they're able to translate very complex or very misunderstood themes through like visual media that is film. So that was incredible, and I can't and it was an absolute honor to be able to work with that. And then getting to understand or getting to even know of organizations like the Rights and Resources Initiative. I didn't know about what was happening in Majimoto and Ilepa and the work that they were doing to fight for the rights of Indigenous Maasai people in that community and their land rights. So getting to see that and to understand that brought this whole new perspective. And at the very least, at the heart of this film and the heart of the SSP project is just hope and light, that despite all of these issues that are happening, from everything from climate change to land rights injustice and all of that, there are people on the ground who are making moves who are towards justice, towards a fair, more equitable world, and they're doing that from within, right? So people like Kimaren and people like James Twala are actually making movements and inspiring movements within their own communities to inspire positive change within those communities. And it's about time people got to see that. So it was the heart of it was and the intention of it was very good. The journey was very long. Frank is being humble. It took months to get this film on your screens at this level, but the dedication that we saw, not only from the filmmakers, but from the organizations as well, because Madiha, Jonathan, everyone took a risk by allowing us to tell a narrative or character-driven story instead of the more traditional, more markety video NGO videos that have a purpose and are very good and very effective. By trying this new approach that had more heart and was more people-centered, was a risk for them. And I think it paid off. From the comments that we're seeing and the questions being asked, I think it's paid off. So that that was, at the end of it, despite all of the challenges, this is the best thing that could have happened and the best outcome that we could have wanted. And yeah, it was great. I would say one positive about working with local filmmakers was the language barrier that usually exists was cut off, because the people from the ground are able to understand and translate their subjects much better than anyone from the outside could have done. So that was one thing that really helped with this program. But yeah, it was a long 12 months, but it was absolutely worth it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Debbie. Just want to take a couple moments here. If there's questions from folks online, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them in real time. Also, if there's questions that require more time to digest, you're welcome to post them directly actually in YouTube and as a comment, and Rights and Resources Initiative folks will take some time over the next few weeks to actually do their best to answer those too. So bringing the conversation around this to the public, to the film itself, is also one of the goals that we have. Feel free to put it in here. Are we submitting this to festivals? We do plan to do some festival outreach with these, and are very open to ideas and invitations. So I know there are people on this call who have ideas and energy around that. And in the last actual couple minutes, because there are incredible documentary filmmakers on this call from around the world, and people working on Indigenous land rights and press and so many folks, if you are someone who would like to be in touch with the other people here, feel free to put a little bit of an invitation and your contact info in the chat right now, so that people can follow up with each other. Part of these convening events is to give people that chance to network, to further the work. And as we're wrapping up, I just want to give a chance for James and Kimaren especially, closing words to sort of, what would you like you have the mic, what would you like the people on this call to know about, to take forth into their world as you're continuing this work?
Yeah, thank you again, Gabriel and the team, Debra and the rest, Jonathan, Madiha, Frank, and the rest whom I may not mention all, and RRI for partnering with the Majimoto community. I just want to say that this film is priceless, because these struggles, communities pay the results by their lives. They put their lives on the line. Often, those who take over the land of these communities are people well-placed, are people with power and the means to frustrate the lives of others. And to live through that, to tell the story, is a blessing and a rare thing for Indigenous land rights and environmental defenders. And it's a very expensive process, expensive in the sense that we pay with our lives, and that oftentimes to come around resources to do the kind of documentation, to do the legal. There are things that the administrative setup cannot resolve through lobbying and advocacy. There are things only the court process can cancel a title. A minister of land may not cancel a title, even if he agrees or she agrees. And it's been very difficult accessing, resources for public interest litigation. You get resources for mobilizing and advocacy, but supporters shy away when it comes to legal support. And this story will not be complete without that component of the court nullifying, revoking titles, and restoring to the legitimate owners. So I just want to say thank you for those who are working these struggles and community, whether you're a filmmaker, whether it's grassroots support and lobbying documentation like RRI and others, and encourage us to connect these communities with potential support, because it is a costly affair and there is very minimal support on the legal aspect of this. And now the process of restoring rights is on, and it's another new chapter which we will live to tell the story someday, how livelihoods are restored, how hope is restored. This is a story of hope, and thank you for documenting it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We are at time, so I want to respect everyone's time commitment. And also, I posted a link. There is the next cohort of this solution storytelling project is taking place in Latin America. We're planning to do 16 films over the next year, and filmmakers, Latin American-based filmmakers, are able to apply at that link that I put in the chat. And thank you, everybody, for joining and creating this film, and for supporting this work, and just for the good work that you're doing out in the world. Deep bow and much gratitude. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And we'll let people continue to add little bits in the chat. And again, an urging, share that film out in your networks. Really appreciate it. Thank you.